Welcome, everyone. Patrick,
Hello.
hello. Brenda and Andy, Joseph, welcome to Artemis's Epic Democracy series, where we're gathering to share ideas, resources, knowledge, feelings, and to love ultimately. Welcome, and Artemis, thank you so much for gathering us during this time.
Big hug. Everyone just give each other a big hug. Everyone hug. Come on, Joseph. Hug. All right. And I would love everyone just to check in. And Brenda, you go first if you'd like, or
sure, I don't care.
Anyone who wants to go. I just want to hear how everyone's doing today, right now.
Well, we went to the Protect the Results rally in Concord today at 1, and it was a beautiful day, a big group, great music, wonderful speeches. What's the recording you did? Who was that? She was from what, Andy?
American Civil Liberties Union.
Person from there. And look at this is from the Peace Abbey. I'm sure you know the Peace Abbey when it was there. And this is what I believe. This is the only solution. And we decided that our small group ministry groups this weekend, we have one on Sunday and one on Monday. The topic is going to be love. So I'm still waiting for the results, but I'm not going to let it get me down or worried. And it's good to be here, and we're skipping church to be with you guys. So
this is the new church.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we knew we can talk more openly here because you have to be nonpartisan at church. You can't talk about parties.
Which is ridiculous.
Because you're a nonprofit, you'd lose your status. So they won't get very deep. Anyway, that's me.
So I'm really happy during this protracted time we're probably going to experience about seeing how we can finally get Biden to have his rightfully earned place in office. But I'm cheered and comforted by the idea of rolling with Artemis during that time, and that we can just love and share among people who are just really deep, loving, caring people. I'm just happy about that.
Thank you so much. Who else would like to introduce themselves? Welcome. Any newcomers? Feel free to write in the chat or to unmute and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm so glad to be here. I'm Patrick Crowley, and I know all of you, most of you. Lise, look at you. You're here. And the rest of us have been here for several days. It's so exciting. And I'm just happy to share with all of you and to express our feelings, on a practical level. Biden just has to get Nevada and then he wins. Now we of course know that Trump is going to fight all of it, but in terms of technically we just need Nevada and Biden is technically won. So it's so exciting. And I'm feeling very hopeful and happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us and helping organize and facilitate the series. It's been really awesome having you working together.
Yeah.
Actually, would you, Sid and Patrick, let's talk about how this all began. And I really think there is something in its birthing now. It's not like it's done. We're creating it every time. And the fact that you're here from church and want to be together, that's exactly the spirituality I believe in, which is the liberation of the human spirit, that each of us need to find our own liberation. And Patrick and Sid, you guys, you've been right there with me at the beginning, and now you've made it your own. I mean, that's what I love. It's not just rolling with Artemis. This is a name. it's also rolling with Sid and rolling with Patrick. So I'd love for you guys to share a little bit about what has happened to you guys along the way.
Absolutely. Well, I would definitely say I'm here because of love, because that's all there is, in my opinion. That's all we are at the end of the day. And someone wrote a couple nights ago, that sounds like cult language to me. I mean, it's funny, right? It is very general term. It's one of those all-encompassing words, or maybe we choose that one. But I'm here because I'm a part of a movement of people that, in looking deeper at ourselves, we can serve humanity better. We can use our gifts to make the world a better place. We can use the resources we have to come together. We can be self-reliant. We can collectively solve for our survival chores so that we can have more time to problem solve and create and be. So, that's everything from going green to starting eco villages and consuming less and divesting from the war machine and coming together to change our consumer choices so that we can bankrupt certain companies that aren't good for the world. So that's what I'm about, and I'm so grateful to be here with you guys and to help moderate. So feel free to post in the chat at any point, and I'm so honored. Thank you.
Rolling with Sid.
Rolling with Sid.
And Sid,
Yeah.
will you say something about the Creative Zone? Because that's your one of your
Right.
creations.
Right. Creative Zone is broadcasting tonight on Facebook Live, and I'm helping Artemis get this content on YouTube, and just trying to spread love and come together to converse and discuss how we're going to navigate these times. So Creative Zone is an events organization. It helps produce events for all different kinds of creatives and healers and entrepreneurs and nonprofits. It's all about the ripple effect. So. Love is the only solution.
Love certainly has a ripple effect, a very, very strong ripple effect. I think probably the strongest ripple effect I've ever experienced in my life. So I think it's lovely to be here. And I also have many choices of where to be tonight. I chose to be here. It feels good. It feels right. It's got
Good.
it has it had.
And what inspired you to initially join us?
Well, I'm always interested in projects that Artemis is involved in. He's very creative, and he supports causes that are important. I mean, what's more important than democracy, right? So I'm here to be with people who are like-hearted, and I can talk a lot about love. And today I had to work extra hard to feel the ripples of love. It's even though Biden looks like he's going to be getting the electoral vote, I was hoping for a bigger landslide. Deep in my heart. So, and I say that the work is still the same. There's the us of who we are is made of us that is elected, put tens of millions of votes for Trump. That's part of the us too. And I think love is the only thing that can heal that. I don't think it's going to be politics. So I'm here for love. And Artemis promised to tell us about the bitcoins. I'm interested in bitcoins of love. Actually, that's another reason why I'm here. And the currency exchange, and the forex and the whole thing, like how does it convert in other countries? Yeah. Maybe Artemis will talk about it, hopefully. But anyway, so that's me, and I'm here for love. And I gave up synagogue for tonight.
Thank you, Noam.
Okay.
Who else would like to introduce themselves? No pressure if you want to just use the chat. We can also dive in.
Andy wanted to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say, Noam, we were looking for you at Walden Pond today. Didn't see you.
I went to the river.
Oh,
You went to the pond. Yeah, I went to the river.
okay.
Yeah. Well, but let's make sure that we. Some people I meet without planning. Maybe like when we walk at Walden Pond at the same time, or we can actually plan a time.
Yeah.
So,
Or come to Farm Pond, my pond, tomorrow, all of you.
Okay, what time?
Anytime you want to swim, we'll jump in the pond. It's still,
I'm ready.
let's go.
We'll
go.
watch Gnome, but we'll come.
Okay.
All right. Just pick a time at Artemis.
Let's say 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It's the warmest time of the day. And tomorrow's supposed to be a beautiful day. And my hot tub is 108 degrees. So after we go, we can just melt in the warm water.
Oh,
We're there.
okay.
All right.
1 o'clock.
We'll do a live show tomorrow.
I am so delighted to be invited. I cannot promise, but I want to be there at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
That's right. That's right.
I do.
You have a better time, Gnome. Say it.
What day is tomorrow? Friday?
Let me see.
Let's look right now. And
But-
in this
but-
moment of looking, Joseph, would you introduce yourself to everybody? Because I don't think you've said a word in all these little.
10 and 3, yeah.
Who is Joseph Steig?
I did say something in response. I spoke for Patrick because I knew that he wanted me to at some point, which was yesterday, maybe. I'm actually calling from Canada.
Ooh.
And I used to live in Massachusetts. I went to school with Artemis and Patrick and Lise ages ago. I guess the most, actually, I was going to say something that sounds a little flip, but it's been really fun to see Sid manage these events. That's been a pleasure. I've just been able to flit in and out, partly because of time zone questions, and I usually serve my mother. I live with my mother. I serve her dinner very early, so for 8 o'clock your time, so that's 5 o'clock my time. So I'm usually scrambling around getting dinner for her, and it's a bit odd to see all this from Canada. Last time, 4 years ago, I woke up in Bangalore, in India. That morning, it was about, I think I was leading a workshop of about 25 people, mostly, or almost all of them, I guess, from India. And it was an entrepreneurship workshop. And I was running it with a guy who, I hadn't actually met him, in fact. I just met him that morning for breakfast. And I think 8:30, I think Bangalore is a half-hour time zone off. So at 8:30 in the morning was midnight East Coast time. I think I've got that right. And that was, anyway, right when we started the workshop was when we faced the music that Hillary Clinton had not, in fact, been elected. I mean, I went to sleep. I was exhausted the next day. I had arrived in India maybe 24 hours prior to that. I was pretty wiped out. I'd spent time with people all day. I'd actually met that day a good friend of mine from high school who I hadn't seen since high school, so 30 years before. Wonderful person, but we'd lost touch. And I posted on Facebook I was going to Bangalore. I met Glenn in Bangalore that Sunday when I arrived, and we both, well, on Monday night, we also dinner. We said, should we go back? Should we return to the United States? But we did. But now I'm in Canada, and it's an interesting experience to be in Canada. I'm not quite sure what I think, but it's different. So that's a little bit about me and my experience.
And just for those who don't know, Joseph and I were not just roommates, but on my Division 3,
Just like a senior thesis.
I was ordered by my committee to rewrite my entire thesis in 24 hours. It was just a mess. And Joseph and I went back and we actually learned, I learned for the first time how to type in a computer, but we really rewrote the entire thing. And it was more than 24 hours, but we've been friends and colleagues and, schooled in social ecology. The idea that our oppression of people comes really from the oppression of the earth. And that to write that, we have to find a new connection to the earth, which is a social ecological view.
Mm.
And if you look at a very strong forest, an ecosystem that's solid, strong, it's because it's a diverse forest, not because it's a monoculture. And that's what we learned with Murray Bookchin and Haya Heller and Lise. I think you were part of that at some point as well, my dear, right? And Lise also went to college with us and married the most wonderful son of the greatest professor of Hampshire College history, Ray Coppinger, and now is a farmer, right?
Tim is back to farming, yes. Yep.
Will you introduce yourself, my dear?
Oh, so yeah, sorry. I'd be fine introducing myself. So Lise Coppinger, I live out in Western Massachusetts. Let's see. I went to college with Joe and Artemis and Patrick, who are on this call. And hi, Joanne. I don't know if you can, we can't see you, but I can see that you're listening.
Oh, China's there.
Yeah. And I'm here tonight because I wanted to check out what was going on with all of you. It's a really difficult time. I've got 3 kids. They're all in their 20s. And just trying to navigate how to support them in this crazy world that we live in. And I was very moved listening to Biden today. It brought me to tears because, in fact, his message was about love and that no matter what happens, we need to focus on meeting the needs of the citizens of this country that we live in. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful to be here with all of you for a little bit of time and hear more about who you are, what brings us here today. And I'm a real doer. I'd love to know what I can do that I'm not doing. And maybe that's just kind of stretching my brain some more. Sydney, I was so verklempt. I was really touched with what you said about focusing on love and sustainable communities and agriculture. And that's essentially what my husband and I have been focused on since college, which was over, I hate to say 30 years ago. But I'm really inspired in your generation and my kids, and so grateful that people are continuing to strive for something that connects us to each other and to the earth and to our food sources, and in recognizing that we've gone off on a tangent towards supporting corporations and it is killing us, literally. So nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is your name Liz?
It's Lise,
Lise,
a Danish name. My mom is Danish.
How do you spell that?
It's
Lise.
L-S-E, yeah.
Right. Liz.
Lise.
You have a beautiful voice, Liz.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I haven't been told that before.
Well, there's a lot of emotion that you carry with your voice,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
a life well lived.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. 3 kids, huh?
Yes, I have 3 kids. Yep.
Oh, in their 20s.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
tried to marry my older son to her oldest daughter, but it didn't work.
Oh,
Well, they were betrothed when they were about 6 months old, and I think
Yeah.
that was the only extent of it, right?
It's so lovely. It's so
Yeah.
lovely. So you all went to college together. That's amazing. But we're all here for love. I guess that's again, and to see Sid. What for me, the thing about Sid that she's in her 20s, and her values are no different, or maybe even further distilled than sharp than we were in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And so I get a lot of hope when I'm moderated and convened with such passion and knowledge. Um, I don't know if Sydney can hear me, but I'm sure she can listen to this recording later. She's
Yeah, no, I'm here.
she's a woman of valor,
Mm.
and she's
Well,
only,
Sid's
only in
smarter
her,
than the rest of us, as I always say.
only in her
because-
20, only in her 20s, man. That gives me so much hope, man.
But our problem is we all breathed in leaded gasoline, which knocked our brain cells down by at least 10%. So she has a leg up.
Well,
I mean, we're
aging
all on
was
this
a whole
like
other subject.
it's,
I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say I feel like we're all on a different like conscious spectrum, and I don't know if you've heard of spiral dynamics, but
Hmm?
this man named Schmackenberger speaks on how as we've evolved as humans, we've shifted in our conscious focus from, you know, survival, of course, and like individualistic thinking to more holistic thinking. And there's just still people today that are, you know, less evolved actually, in terms of because of time, really. So we can train ourselves and we can deprogram and recondition, and that takes work. And so you can, I think, evolve yourself more. But I don't know. I feel like my story really was about cannabis. Like I when I learned of the corruption behind its illegality, that paved my interest in a lot of other issues. And I would say it's been very formative for me.
Wow. And how do you know Artemis?
I met him through a good friend of mine, Christina, who's worked with Artemis for years. She's also nomadic, living a minimalistic life, flipping a tiny home and hoping to spread love and community and connect different intentional spaces. Yeah.
I'm so happy that you and Artemis found each other, because you're another reason why I'm on this call. You hold it together really well, both with your intention, your emotion, your intellect, and your experience. And you're only 26, and so I guess just I'll get off that. But I also heard Biden talk today. I didn't hear the whole thing. I just jumped in to catch some stuff, and I actually got comforted by him. And I was happy to be comforted by him. I said, you know, whatever happens, the guy knows how to hold us, like, and talk to us as a people, and still hold values and truth and respect and hope. Yeah, but as I said, this nothing has changed really, even though everything. I mean, less destruction will happen if he's elected, but there's so much work to do to really let the core principles of what we're talking about here, that are so important, to actually become part of the fabric of society. And that's the work, and we all do it in our own way. So it's nice to be here. Another reason to be here is to be inspired by all of you
Thank
for
you, Noam.
our own work. Thank you.
And welcome Susan to the call. Feel free to introduce yourself or to write in the chat. But if you guys are down for it, I'm curious, what are you going to do if Trump is elected?
Oh,
Does anyone have any thoughts?
Maybe go to Portugal. I don't know.
I'm going to work harder for democracy. And, it's not just politics for me. It's really about democracy of relationships and spirit. And for me, I have 4 daughters, and we're like a commune. We're not like a hierarchy. I don't run them. They don't run me. Or they run me more than I run them, for sure. But I think family is a democracy. It's not about the hierarchy wins. And one thing we learned with Murray Bookchin is that the enemies of democracy are dualism and hierarchy. When you have hierarchy over someone, you have no democracy. When you have dualism, meaning you're separated man, woman, or animal, planet, you're separated. You can't be together. And so for me, I'm not afraid of Trump winning. I think whatever happens will happen. It'll be a long battle to verify it. I'm confident that Biden will win. But if he doesn't win and Trump wins, I'm ready to keep working. That's me.
Well, I just jumped in
Artemis.
here. Oh, actually, my microphone, wait a minute, I have to plug in a mic. Sorry.
Now, Suzanne,
Hi, Artemis.
you're in LA, right?
I am. I'm gonna get a microphone in here because the sound is much better.
No worries. So Suzanne and I have been friends for 30 years.
Really?
And we are part of a foundation that gives support to grassroots efforts around climate change, stopping the deforestation of the Amazon. And Suzanne, you also have a following of people that you are in conversation with. So introduce yourself in that spirit of your work.
Well, what I'm fundamentally interested in is not fixing this and that, but what's the fundamental belief system that keeps all of our misery in place? And we have so little attention on that. Everybody's, even climate change. Yeah, oh my God, it's going to be worse than COVID, but what's causing it? What, not just fix it, but why is it happening? And what's our worldview? Well, our worldview is based on self-interest and greed. And we have to get to where we care about each other as much as we care about ourselves. It's vital for the survival of humanity. So just to answer this question that I popped in on, what do you do if Trump wins? I'll say, okay, deeper into the garbage that will help us get out. We haven't sunk deep enough yet, obviously, because even if Biden wins, look at half the country being so incredibly stupid. I mean, they're going to still be there, stupid. So how do we deal with all of it to kind of change the whole thing? And that is what I'm focused on. And each horror that comes along, you go, okay, we need more horrors, obviously. We need them. We need them. That's going to kick us in, the rear to change, make massive change.
Yes, Suzanne, I love that. Thank you so much. I've been saying that pretty much every night of Artemis's Epic Democracy series, that nature, what goes up must come down. The pendulum will swing one way and then the other. We have to get to a point where there's just no way but to go up. And I feel like we're close.
I'm going to put my website in the chat, and I would invite you all. There's a couple of things. I do a blog, not a blog, a podcast, sorry. And I've had wonderful people on. You know John Fullerton, Capital Institute? You must know. Yeah, you must, Artemis. Changing the economic system. And David Lorimer from the Scientific and Medical Network. They're not known over here. They're from England, but that's the most brilliant, Nobel Prize winners in that group of people. So I did a podcast with the program director from their organization, but I also send out something that I started doing during COVID, just because I like good times, I like fun, I like art. And so I started doing something called a delight a day. So 5 days a week, I send out some tidbit that really are quite wonderful. I mean, sometimes they're more than tidbits. Like yesterday, day before was George Monbiot giving the Schumacher lecture on how to, about why capitalism has hit the wall. So anyway, if you get on my mailing list, you get two lists. It's my main list and my delighted day list. And I'm going to send you my website where the homepage will introduce you to both of them.
Great, thank you so much. And welcome, Gwen. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to introduce yourself at any point. We also have Latifa joining us. She was one of our features. We talked with Latifa on immigration and the other, and how the human psyche changes when it's feeling threatened, and how once we feel safe, then we can think. So I really appreciated that change in narrative.
I love that topic.
So what do we do? Oh, please go ahead.
We're all checking in. So Latifa and Patrick and Gwyn, how do you say your full name, my dear? Gwyn?
So I'm actually, my name is in the process, it's in the process of a change right now. So even the way that you see my name written on Facebook is going to be different. And so it's going to be Gwenevra, which is Gwenevra.
Okay, Gwenevra. Beautiful.
Gwenevra. Yeah. So it's Gwen. Yeah. So we're checking in, and I don't know, I'm an astrologer, and I get a lot of like feelings in my body and messages from the collective, which is why I feel like I don't always need to like be on top of the news. I generally just can kind of get a feel for the energy that's happening. But I confess that I did check in at 3:00, and it's looking hopeful. And I just couldn't help it. I had to flip a few cards on this. And it was a very interesting reading, what came out. And so, my feeling in general is that no matter what is going on, the world is not going to stop right now. We're still here. This is a fragment in time that is a fragment of time in such a fast history and future. And so it's like this thing. And it's really interesting to me is that as much as nearly 50% of the nation is supporting Trump. And I think it says a lot. It says a lot in terms of so many socio factors. There's so many sociological factors in that. And it's also, it's just been to me very amazing how it's been such a tight race so far. But I haven't looked at the numbers recently, and I guess the way that I feel is that I'm going to still keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to still be growing food and planting gardens and showing people that they have the capacity to do that. And I'm going to keep empowering myself and empowering other people. And we're going to just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And I'm not quitting.
Yeah, return to our roots. I love it.
I have a right to be here. I have a right to exist. And that's a very fundamental thing, is that once I arrived, I have a right to exist. At least once I arrived, I have a right to exist. And I'm going to just throw it in there astrologically that we're looking at Mars in the sign of Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, which is the baby. I am. Here I am. And so it's in retrograde. So this I amness is really kind of feeling to me like also it's like it's also an internal job. So that's my input on it. Thanks.
Thank you. I actually shared on Facebook a post today that was basically I am love, I am this, I am that, and then it ended with I am, and I'm feeling that as well. I also wanted to just welcome again Latifa to the call. Thank you so much for joining us, Latifa. It's been wonderful having you on, and feel free to mention in the chat. If anyone also is feeling called to speak, feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to throw up a thumbs up or a heart sign, or to chat in any questions or ideas or resources. And so that was my next question, unless Latifa wants to introduce herself.
Well, thank you for welcoming me again. And I just ran from another meeting, which Colin's still on, social responsibility investment. And, I'm glad to be here. And I love what Govendra said about, I am, and we are love, and we're here. And I feel the same way. It's been a very difficult night and day today. But on the other hand, you know what? What saddens me is how America is divided, and there's almost like two Americas when I look at the, polls and the voting and all of that, and I'm like, wow, that worries me more than if Trump gets it or Biden gets it, because of the fact that we as a country have to come together. We have to understand what the purpose of life is and why are we here. And yes, I'll continue to live, but on the other hand, we got to make a difference, and can't have this division, and he meaning Donald Trump added more and more to that during the 4 years. He really divided us more. But it should be the end of the white supremacy, I hope.
Thank you for saying that. I also just wanted to mention a thought, which is I think Trump is a symptom of a larger issue. And one piece of it is that some of the consumption in our daily lives, like technology and social media, actually plays upon some of our animalistic, instinctual nature, you could say. It doesn't actually help us to evolve. It helps us to go backwards. So I just wanted to mention that. And Gwen, I know that you can speak to this, but working directly with nature and becoming more connected to what is nourishing us and more connected to your environment and surroundings and the people like around you, the more we thrive. And there's studies that show that. So like you said, Latifa, whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump, we're divided, and we have to remember, or think about, what is the point? Like, these borders aren't necessarily real. They're just made up. Yeah. It's all made up. We decide. So thank you.
So I have a question, just a quick question, that I think we've been talking about all evening and all through the last few evenings, about the ones who are not with us and not thinking like us. And my question is, if there's only one love, what are we going to do with this? And is calling, them the other when they're us?
Wow.
Is that a good thing to do? Or how can we, there's such extreme measures that are perpetrated by them that we see as and we call them names.
I think we're all on the spectrum. And we lead by example, but I want to open it up. What do you guys think?
I wanted to add something. Have been thinking a lot about Tim Phillips' talk the other night. And this morning, I went online and I looked up a lot of information about his work. And it's Beyond Conflict. And he said, he just wrote something that has to do with new insights from brain and behavioral science, which explains how polarization is fueled by our America's misperceptions about each other. And he said that this work can help us learn more about the psychology that drives us apart and how we can start to reverse it. And I think he's really onto this something. And this can really help us.
Absolutely.
So, and I just encourage everybody to look at his Facebook page, Beyond Conflict, and there's some good TED Talks, and his actual paper, the report that he just did. It's 24 pages only, and I think he addresses this problem head on, and I'm so inspired, Artemis, by the fact that he was here, and many of you, but that is very important work, especially for right now.
Can you put it in the chat? Can you put a link in?
Sure. You need to help me because I'm not.
Patrick, I want to invite you to say hello and introduce yourself. I don't think you said anything yet. You've been so important to this whole process. So share your how you're doing right now.
I've shared a few words. It's been wonderful to be part of this. I will put the Beyond Conflict in the chat as soon as I find it. Yeah, I just, what was I going to say? Well, it's just, you asked the question earlier on, what was the birth of this whole 5-day experience? And I think it came from many threads, but one of it was, Artemis and I were talking, and we were talking about voting and democracy, and the election is coming up and we should do something about it. And with Artemis's charisma and all of his people that he knows, he should do something. And I've been encouraging you, Artemis, to do your channel. And this is the inception of the channel. So the channel is called Rolling with Artemis. And this 5-day thing that we're doing is called Epic Democracy. And it just flew from there. And we got all these wonderful people to come on and all of you to come on. And it's been really great. How I'm feeling personally, I'm feeling very hopeful. I'm just hopeful that there's just of this basic thing. It looks like Biden is going to win. And by the way, we just have to get Nevada, and it comes down to 7,600 votes, which was not as little as it was. When was that? 12 years ago?
Right.
When it was like 750 votes in Florida or something. Anyway, but I do think all of this, I've been contemplating a lot if Trump did win, and he still might. We just need to regroup, and there is a certain truth that we've all we've gotten off our butts, and we've become a lot more motivated since he's been in office. And I think we're a very rich country. We all have, so many people get very complacent, and I think I do. And so I've become a little less complacent, and I've learned a lot and learning more. And, I want to devote more of my life to voting, because I do feel that all the different aspects of voting is why we don't have a democracy in this country. And the Republicans have been working very steadily for 40 years to undermine all of these different aspects, and have succeeded. And so that's my contribution. I made a lot of calls for Biden, and also question 2, which was about ranked choice voting, which unfortunately did not pass in Massachusetts. And that's very sad, but we'll keep working. And, you know, through that whole connection was able to get Jim Henderson, who ended up being a friend of Tim Phillips. And so that was a wonderful connection on Monday night. Is today Tuesday? No, today's Wednesday. So that was 2 nights ago. Yeah, so I'm feeling hopeful. I think I do feel this sadness about the fact that half the country is in this very different place. And what place are they actually in? I think they're scared, they're angry, you know, and it's hard to say this, but I do feel that they're uneducated about what's really happening. And so how do I reach out? I'm one of the people who feels like I want to talk to Trump supporters and be very intimately involved in talking with them. And I have to some degree, but I'd like to do it a lot more. And in my calls with Trump supporters, I ended up changing the script because the script was, hello, I'm Patrick Crowley. I'm from the Biden, you know, Harris campaign. And it's like that would turn people off immediately. And I also didn't like the fact that in the script, it didn't say hello. I knew the person's name because they have the person's name. So I ended up changing it saying, hello, you know, Gertrude. Hi, I'm Pat. Or is Gertrude there? And you know, they would say, who are you? And I lied. I said, I'm from a Get Out the Vote organization. And we just want to know that you're voting and that you have all the information you need. And then I would get into the whole thing with them after that. But I think just for a Trump supporter to feel like I was just a pleasant voice. Yeah. And I think they knew somehow, you know, that I wasn't quite a Trump supporter because I never said, oh, great, you're voting for Trump. I just said, well, great, you're voting. And, but I think in some energetic way, I mean, I think some of them did think I was a Trump supporter. And I think in some energetic way, they got this feeling of love from me. And that felt like I did something.
Oh, that way.
And then I connected with the other.
Oh, bravo. Bravo.
That's beautiful.
That link is not working, by the way. Tim Phillip, beyondconflict.org.
I'll get a link to his actual document. I'll have it in a few seconds.
But Patrick, what you're talking about, that one love, that's no different between you, the Democrat, and the Republican on the other side of the phone. That's what I was referring to earlier. That how could you make this happen more? Like if you wanted to get this conversation going on, or do you think, is that something we want to talk about this, Sid?
I'd love to jump in on that one. Last night, I started the evening with my parents in Providence, Rhode Island, and they're both avid Trump supporters. And we had the most untriggered, loving conversation about our country that I've ever had since I've been a child.
Wow.
Of them. And I think part of it is what we've been doing on this channel is to not seek to demonize them or divide ourselves with them. But what you said, Patrick, what is the question? What is the connection that we have? And I was very touched by my mom's passion on the call. We had 2 or 3 people on the call with her who were talking about women's rights and how Trump has failed on COVID. And for the first time, my mother said, you're right. That's true. He did. And that was very hard for her to actually do that. But it came out of some empathy that she had toward this person. And that's what I think is important, is that we connect, as Tim Phillips said, on an emotional level. But in the emotion, we bring down the fighting, and we come to some agreements on listening to each other, and we take turns, and we don't argue with each other. We listen to each other, and then we say thank you. And that's what I did last night, and it was literally revolutionary for me to be such a radical liberal from a family of really aristocratic Russians who really don't care about democracy at some level, but love America in some weird way, you know. And so that's my story about it.
Well, I'm so glad we're talking about this. I was missing this part of the conversation about the dialogue, because a lot of us do things, you know, when we feel threatened by the other, like we're othering half the country. How can we live in America where we other half the other people? That's not for us. I mean, through art, through social action, through any kind of political movement, through individual work, we must change that if we are to be the United States of America. Yeah, anyway, so I came here to America because I believed in that. I came from Israel, which was a very difficult place to grow up in. I was born in Boston to Israeli parents, went to school here to MIT and BU, and met each other in some social event. And then by the time I was 4, I was in Israel. My father was born a Palestinian. My grandfather was born in Palestine. My great-grandfather was born in Hebron. And I had to leave all that because the politics was so intense. And I came to America, the land, we used to call it the Golden Medina, the land of gold, where everything is possible, that any dream that we had, you can make come true. And now here we are, fast forward 2020, and that question is really being asked. Is that the America we wanted? So I am very much for local activity to change that. And here in Waltham, where I live, we have an incredible opportunity because there's well, there are plenty of wealthy people who live here, but also a lot of poor people right here. So you can actually make a difference because it hasn't been gentrified yet fully. So I feel that love we talk about, I do it on the individual basis. I do it with a Pakistani neighbor or with from Morocco. I'm Jewish. We talk about whatever. We play music together in the backyard we carve pumpkins with our children, you know, and we make like community. We're a little village, and so with the help of love and understanding and research. I mean, the research in these last 5 evenings has been robust in terms of all the thinking that's going on about where we're at. So I hope the channel continues beyond the epic democracy.
Thank you.
Because of you, it will. I mean, this is what we're doing, is building it right now.
Yeah.
You build it.
No, your contributions have been amazing to this call. Everyone's contributions and perspectives and backgrounds have lended itself to some really amazing collective conscious. I feel like one with many of you who I don't even quite know very well.
I think the word you might be looking for is family.
Yeah. We just understand what's going down, what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Or I guess, but I mean, I don't want to say us versus them. It's not that. It's just more so like in the love and fear spectrum, I'm a little bit leaning more towards like trusting in humanity and believing in our collective ability to rise up. And I think it's just going to spread. I think if we all start and continue to do what we're doing now and locally, it's a ripple effect. So my next question is, despite the elections, what are we going to do at a local level? What can we do, you know, starting this week that's really simple to get the ball rolling to be more local?
Well, I can tell you what's happening over here.
Please.
Well, today I went outside and my neighbors were outside as well, and it was really beautiful and sun shining out. And my neighbor had come down with all kinds of stuff that she had cleaned up at the community garden. And I was so grateful that she did that, because it's really a lot of work. And I was kind of stressed out about getting that stuff done. And so then after we spent time together, another neighbor came along and we waved and said hello and smiled at each other. And we had these like cheerful, wonderful interactions with each other. And I really just think that's where it begins sometimes, is just with a smile. So that's my day at this moment. Just I feel like a lot of people here are feeling some level of relief as the numbers are coming in. I live in a community that really does want Joe Biden to get in. You know, I think many of them also like him. I think that he endears people, you know. And so, you know, how is it going to begin? You know, I think it just sometimes begins with, you know, it sounds so simple, but just smiling or making a gesture in some way to be kind. Really, kindness is really a very important thing. But, you know, not in a Pollyannish sort of.
His guitar.
Where did you go?
Cut out.
Ah,
Bradley Coleman is entering
May
the
I-
Zoom room. Welcome.
Sid.
Oh, please, no.
May I
Yeah.
suggest a musical interlude, improvisation? I have no idea what I'm gonna play, just to kind of just ground everything from
Go for
words to just like music a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here we are together tonight, yeah. Not knowing anything, but knowing everything. What we're gonna do. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, bevakasha. Let Biden win. Yeah. Oh, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, bevakasha. Let Biden win. Let Biden win. And Patrick will tell us in a moment that looking at Arizona now, he's up 1,700 points. And let him win. And where's Gwen? Gwen, are you back? Are you there?
I am absolutely here.
The song was inspired by you.
I'm totally present. I'm here and I'm present. I'm cruising over to get my daughter at her job, which is right across the street. And I'm with you.
I know what I don't think you heard what I said. I said this song was inspired in part by what you said earlier.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So thank you for the inspiration, Gwen.
Thank you.
Guinevra.
Yes, thank you.
Guinevra.
Yes, Guinevra.
Huh?
If you look up the word Nevra, Nevra, it translates into the little bone of a saint of God or something.
Okay. such
Name
a, yeah, what a beautiful name. Well, so anyway, so that was the musical interlude. I'm done.
You are permitted to do that as many times as you want, my
Thank
brother.
you, also Sid, the moderator, for allowing me. She could have cut me off and like bounced me to another one. Sid, where are you? Sid, are you there?
How could I ever cut you off? That was so wonderful.
Because you're so professional. You know how to move the evening. You're constantly moving the evening. You're always mindful of what's going on. You're really, you got skills.
Thank you, Gnome. That's so encouraging. Let's keep it going.
Well, a channel
Continue to roll with us.
a YouTube channel needs somebody like you.
In that spirit, I want to introduce my old brother, Bradley Coleman, who I went to grammar school with in New York City, and we beat Patrick Crowley's team for the championship. But more importantly, let's talk about Israel and Netanyahu and why so many Trump supporters in this whole country are in that cult of Netanyahu. And without further ado, Bradley Coleman.
Hello. So good. First of all, so lovely to see Artemis. It's been far too long, and we grew up together in the city. And have kept in touch on and off. Lovely to be talking with all of you. Yesterday I was in Central Philly as an election observer, helping people get their votes. Went very smoothly, surprisingly. I was concerned there would be all sorts of stuff, but anyway, made it back last night. Fingers crossed, like all of us. Wow, I wasn't prepared for substantive talk about Jews and Netanyahu. I think there is a real divide amongst American Jews, and as Netanyahu has identified himself with Trump and the American right wing and the Republican Party, he's really created a rift. But there is, there are a large number of I would say more religious and observant Jews who are strong supporters and believe that Netanyahu's misguided policies are actually in Israel's long-term interests. I mean, I think it's demonstrably false and mathematically false, by the way, too. As for the reason why, I don't know. I wish Jeremy were here. It was another classmate of ours, Jeremy Benamy, who founded J Street, who's
hey guys, do you think Trump is gonna win or lose? Who's gonna win, Biden or Trump?
At this moment,
it doesn't matter because it's rigged, man. They're either way.
Big niggers are gonna win.
Even if any of them win, they're in the same agenda. It doesn't matter.
Trump
or
Biden,
agenda.
niggers are still gonna be niggers. That's the point here, people.
I couldn't disagree with you more, Francisco.
Oh, we have
there's an enormous difference.
I just want to say that, even if Biden doesn't get it, it doesn't mean that local government isn't going to mobilize. I really believe in local mobilization, and I think that's where it's at for all of us,
Who's speaking? And is that Guinevere?
Yep, that's Guinevere.
Guinevere,
yep.
Yes. I love your eye.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
I think local government is extremely important, and the closer your government is to your actions, the more it's meaningful to your everyday life. That's why mayors are very often,
Hey yo, Joanne.
Nigger.
Papa Titty. Hello? Yes. Hi. Could you,
we may have
I,
been bombed.
show us your,
Let's go back to
Bombers.
show us-
whoever was speaking before. Can you continue or were you finished?
suck my dick.
You know what I'm saying? There's a
We have
we've
yeah,
been
we have
bombed.
an
We've been
invader.
bombed. It's called
We
Zoom bomb.
officially had hackers. Yay, it happened.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's that from?
It's
Did you
known
hear
as-
that?
It's
Wasn't
it's
that a
because
lady?
Artemis wanted.
Wasn't that a
It's known
lady's
as
voice?
Zoom. It's known as Zoom bombing. As a
Yeah.
synagogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I thought that
that's why there's
democracy.
security measures for that.
that's serious democracy, really.
Has that
Yeah.
become a colloquial phrase where it doesn't really matter what sex issues it?
Right.
Well,
I've never experienced that, so thanks for explaining it. I've heard about it.
yeah, I know in synagogues.
Neither have I. I was wondering if it would ever happen.
Thanks, but I'll pass tonight.
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking, oh, I think somebody should mute themselves.
Anyway, Bradley, Artemis asked me the same question 3 nights ago.
That's how you get welcomed, huh?
So Artemis,
He right between the eyes, and I didn't answer. I kind of like moved it, but I'll answer now, and I'll say the following. As a compliment to what you have said so far and the people you referenced, that Trump just kind of made Benjamin Netanyahu is a mini Trump, like mini me, but there's a little bit of that going on. Both people are trying to control and hold to power because of their personality and their desire for power, but not for the good of the people. So the reason why American Jews support Trump is because of like very blatant moves, like putting the embassy in Jerusalem, declaring the Golan Heights, like not stopping the settlements like other presidents have done and premiers have done in Israel. So all that leads to the fact that if you support Benjamin Netanyahu, you support the security of the state. And the security, and that's the long-term thing, is like longevity of this place that's been, so there's still a vestige of a population in the Jewish demography that is believing in the old ways of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And there's a whole new generation of college-going students who are embarrassed and ashamed by what's going on. And we're trying among our own community to reconcile those differences and to give it, education. So it's not like them and us, but it's again, the same thing like here. So like my son says, this is the American Intifada, what happened prior to the election and everybody coming to the streets after Floyd was murdered like that. The uprising or rise up, like I think I saw a beautiful graphic for the Rise Up as an invitation to this evening, right?
Yes.
Who put that together?
You muted, Artemis.
What was it?
No, probably yes. Sid arranged for that. See.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I want to just make sure, Bradley, you introduce yourself fully. I set you up with a loaded question, but share a little bit about your work around doing the work you're doing at polling booths and democracy watching and who you are. Just share a little bit about who you are, Bradley.
They keep toggling. Thank you. Grew up in New York City. Went away to boarding school, college, law school. I practice corporate law and work with companies that are buying other companies, investing in other companies, a lot of high tech focus. I do an enormous amount of pro bono work in various aspects, working with, historically work with a group that made an online reading comprehension curriculum for use in public schools around the country and help them with all their licensing requirements and permission requirements. I'm on the board of a community music school here on the Upper West Side. And over the past year, past 4, somebody was asked, it's a great line, and you probably all heard it. Somebody who was standing online to vote was asked how long have they been waiting to vote, and they said 4 years. So
That's a good one.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
like many others felt that this was an existential election for us, and trained as in voter protection. I've dealt with voter hotlines for past many sessions over the past months, answering voters' questions about how to register and where to register, and dealing with former felons, and plenty of phone banking. And then I trained as a poll observer and was on the ground in Philly and basically watching democracy in action. People coming in, voting. Some people had questions. They in the right place? How did they register? They moved. Helped half dozen people or so get real ballots instead of provisional ballots. It was an amazing day. Started at 6 a.m. and went till 8 p.m. last night. So as in terms of who I am, I've lived in Europe. I love classical music. I've a wonderful wife who writes about art and architecture. She uncovers women she wrote a book about a 19th century American woman painter who's unknown. She came across all her letters and most of her works. A descendant of family, wrote a lovely book that just gotten several awards for, and good coverage. I have a daughter who is a senior at Brown and is living off campus in her little apartment, cooped up with her roommates and taking her classes online. So that's me in a nutshell, me and my family.
Thank you so much, Bradley, for that introduction.
And we also have Phyllis, who has not said hello, or Joanne Jaffin. And I just want to invite Phyllis and Joanne to share your beautiful voices.
You're muted, Phyllis. You're muted.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. I have an okay speaking voice. I will not sing because I do not have a beautiful singing voice. I'm a friend of Brenda and Andy, who sent me the link and invited me and told me that there was wonderful people here. And that's why I'm here. Certainly, I have no kind of wonderful, I do not have a resume like Bradley, and I admire Bradley's resume. I mean, I try to be aware. I try to treat other people with love and kindness, and I donate to the ACLU every month.
And she's an artist.
What about your public radio station?
Sometimes my ACLU is my go-to. Other things, I donated. One of the things someone wrote from the church newsletter, the thing people were most looking forward to was not getting texted anymore from all the people I made donations to. Anyone who had a chance to win a Senate seat, I sent them a little money. And I'm like, then you get so many texts, you're like, oh.
I can relate to that.
You have
They
a
did
great sense of
amazingly
humor.
stop last night.
You have a good sense of humor, Phyllis.
Well, thank you.
And she turned us on to being vegan, so
Yeah.
she made us more healthy.
Phyllis, where do you live?
I live in Weston,
Okay.
not far from Brenda
Oh.
and Andy.
Yeah, we're neighbors, Noam. We're right down
Wow.
the street from you.
You could be in Canada. Where's Joseph? He left.
As Joseph was,
Yeah, we had somebody from Canada.
we have New York, Canada, California.
Right. So, but it happens. A lot of people who are in this Zoom are in Massachusetts. Is that, except Bradley, where are you at? You
New
said
York.
New York, right?
Sounded it. You're muted, Bradley.
Upper West Side of New York.
Yeah, yeah. You ever heard of Romemu or BJ or the? No, those are okay. These are just names of congregations up on the Upper West Side that are very progressive.
Yeah,
and they do incredible stuff with music. If you ever need to take a rest from your busy day, like you seems like you work so hard, man. You do so much. Like wow. Then go there and just like bask in music and let it surround you, like as if you go or walk in nature. Like
yeah. No, what's the name? What's the name? I'd like to write them down.
Romemu, 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 and BJ, which is Bnei Yeshurun, BJ. And Artemis can connect us also as well. But thank you for not asking me to put in the chat because I could do that, but I'll take you 10 minutes. Romemu and BJ's and any other questions. But that's the family thing I was talking about, Sid. You remember?
Yes.
Yeah. You've been working so hard. You must be so tired.
Me? Oh, a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, so Bradley, it's really lovely to meet you and hear what you have to say and represent like certain answers to questions from the same direction and be like part of that group with such love and kindness and welcoming as Artemis knows how to do as an incredible host. You know.
Well, the organization Bradley mentioned is called J Street.
I know them.
Which is a
I donate to them.
And Bradley's and my friend in high school started that organization. So we feel as people who support Israel that we can have a different voice than what Netanyahu represents.
Yeah.
In the same way of Trump, we support America, but we don't support Donald Trump. And I think these are important distinctions.
Sure.
For the world we want to live in. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, I wanted to bring up what kind of or what to focus.
Sid, I just want to say, have you heard about the NIF, the New Israeli Fund, and the work they do?
No, please.
So the New Israeli
Share
Fund,
with us.
Yeah, the New Israeli Fund is for a progressive and democratic Israel that recognizes the rights of all ethnicities and religions to live there in equal rights. So the New Israeli Fund, and they do a lot of work. They come out of criticism by a lot of Jewish organizations, but the New Israeli Fund. Okay, that's it. That's my only plug. I wanted to make sure, Artemis, that there is like, they do, and I know the people, that's another conversation. But Bradley, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Thanks for coming on.
Artemis, your lips are moving, but you're...
Yeah, no, and then I wanted Joanne to also introduce herself. Joanne, are you still with us? Joanne, you there? Nope. All right, we'll get Joanne on the way back. We've also been joined by Brianna Whitaker. And I just want to invite Brianna to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Brianna Whitaker.
Hi. Hi, Brianna.
I'm sorry, I'm so shy. And I just wanted to join a Zoom meeting so I could learn what y'all talking about and get to know some of y'all real better and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I wanted to ask, so we talked about what can we do locally to make a difference? And Gwen started sharing some cool insight. And then another question is, what can we focus on right now until the election results come in? Instead of, being glued to the boob tube or the electoral votes, like what can we do to ease our minds and to prepare for whatever happens? Any ideas?
I say, that's kind of tough question. I say that to pray and hope that whoever you voted for win. I mean, and probably like set your mind on doing like yoga, working out and stuff. And yeah, that's what for me. Just saying.
Thank you. Definitely focusing on our own nourishment and health and self-love right now is important. I agree. That's something you're focused on, Patrick. We know. I want to do some contact improv sometime.
Yes, that will be the way to world peace, contact improvisation. Oh, that's a form of dance I've done for 36 years that has to do with people moving in physical contact, and Artemis has come into the fold recently, and contact improvisation, the community is a big supporter of people with mixed abilities, so it's wonderful. He comes to we have these jams, and he comes, and everyone wants to dance with him.
Beautiful. I'd like to say that I can really.
What's going on in America?
Oh, is that another Zoom bomb? Or I'm not really sure.
No, it's a meme. It's a meme.
Oh, I didn't.
It's a meme of the other. It's a meme of the other.
A meme.
Yes, it's the meme of the other. That's what it is.
Yep.
We've become so famous. We've been bombed 4 times.
This time we've been memed. We've been memed.
So
have you ever been memed before?
I know. I hope it doesn't get bad.
So, Patrick, I have a friend, Chris Orth, who's into that. Do you know my friend Chris?
Absolutely. He's a great supporter of, he's been on the board of Earth Dance, one of the biggest. Yeah, he's wonderful. I know him quite well. He's lovely.
Oh, well, actually, I've been
He's
learning.
been on a lot of these our evenings together. The last 3 nights he's been here. I'm surprised he's not here tonight.
Oh, on this?
Yes, on this.
I'm curious. I didn't know that.
Yes.
On this, the epic democracy channel, Rolling with Artemis.
Rolling with Artemis.
And Sid and Patrick.
I just wanted to say thank you to Brianna for sharing. I couldn't agree more with the effectiveness of yoga. For so long, I resisted it because everybody else was doing it and I didn't want to buy into it. But I finally, when I came out to Northampton, there were no Egyptian teachers out here. So I said, okay, I'll do yoga. It's open to the community. And I actually had also started doing that a little bit in Worcester. I started doing yoga and I found myself to be utterly amazed and borderline addicted to it. And then also just movement in general. I started taking African dance, and I've also been hearing a lot about the earth dance stuff, but I have attended an eye opener, or it was one that was in the evening, and that was my first experience with contact improv, and it was truly amazing, like truly
Yes.
amazing, very healing on so many levels. So I really enjoyed it a lot. So if anyone is has not had that experience like you, Brianna, if it ever happens again, that we can do something like that, it's really a very amazing and beautiful experience to be able to be like in the company of people and not talk, but just be able to flow with them. It's really good for me after a lot of stuff that I went through over the past couple of years to just sort of regain my connection with humanity, really. It's been, that was a very powerful experience. So thanks.
Yeah,
Well,
just to
you're welcome.
just to speak to that, Guinevra. First of all, are you in Northampton?
Yes.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, we should connect.
I know we should.
Yeah. Just to speak to a few things that you spoke about, ecstatic dances. So Artemis and I have been going to, they used to be called barefoot boogies, and some of them have turned into ecstatic dances, but this phenomena of these open-ended dances where you go barefoot and it's not about, I shouldn't say it's not about drugs because some people are a little bit into it. It's not about drinking, really.
It's not about booze, which I really like a lot.
Not about booze, and it's not really about, it's not an over pickup scene or anything, and you really dance in any way you want. And I love going to ecstatic dances and just doing yoga there, actually, and then dancing. And you can do anything you can want. You can dance alone, you can dance with a man, you can dance with a woman, you can dance with groups of people, you can dance with a hula hoop. You can dance with
all dance to me is liberating, but that was just really over the top. I was like, wow, I have to go and just be in where I'm at right now after that experience. And I, and then it was the COVID. So
yeah. Well,
and,
you can do.
For a little while, I've known a few friends, dancing friends, who have been a part of that in the Cambridge area, because I was dancing in Cambridge at the Jose Mateo Ballet Theater with Saida Sultan, and with the Sarab Mirage Dance Company. And then when I moved out to NoHo, I was like, whoa, like I don't know anybody here. And so I came out here to this one out here, and it was wonderful. And I found African dance out here, which so many of my drumming friends were like, you need to take African dance. And I said, no, I'm a belly dancer. And I took African, and I absolutely love that too. So yeah, moving around, Diana. I like that.
Well, there's a real correlation between contact improvisation and democracy. And we dance alone, we come together, we connect. It's very confluent. It's about equality. It's about balancing each other. And actually, I think if more people not just danced, but danced contact improvisation, we would have a more democratic world. Because I think at your soul level, you are connecting with someone without pretension, with permission, a lot of permission.
Right. Yeah, that's really safe. And I really have enjoyed it, and I'd like to do more of that. You know, one thing that I became very keenly aware of during the experience of the dance was the separation. Like how once I engaged with somebody, once I moved away, how there was something in that moving away from that comfort that I was experiencing, you know, bodily things, you know, like I always feel everything in my body. And so what was brought to my awareness were issues of abandonment, maybe a little bit. You know, it wasn't like I was traumatized by it, but it was just simply observing that, and then just saying, I'm observing that when I become in this sort of contact way with somebody, separation becomes almost like a physical separation. And so how can we accept that as we I guess I'm talking about attachment here, you know, like different sorts of attachment. Can I just say a little more? Is that I was thinking about other.
Gwen?
Is that for me?
Gwen?
Is that other?
Gwen.
Yes.
I'd just like to make a little interlude and say, a musical interlude. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. You need to just make me be quiet right now. That is a good idea.
No. I'd like to emphasize. I'd like to just say. So, whenever.
Thank you, Noam.
That is my.
Oh my God, this is so interesting. Tell me more, girlies. Tell me more. I'm so.
What?
Ay, caramba.
They've got our number.
Yeah, they've got our number.
Yeah.
They're passing it around.
And we'll put a password. That's all. That's all it takes. And everybody gets by email the password, and they just stick it in, and nobody.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's it. That's very simple.
Yeah, just a landing page where you have to provide some information to get a password to join. Absolutely.
Well, I don't think we're that big that we have to register like in a big way, but we have to prepare for that. But for right now, we're just like 30 or 40 email lists, you know.
Yeah.
But Gwen, I was only like whatever you were saying, I felt like playing music. Once again, you inspired me for my art. And I think, Artemis, if you're there, I love the spaces you convene. Artemis is a great space convener.
It is a wonderful space.
He has friends from like a whole plethora of cultures and ideas and philosophies and ethnicities and occupations and colorations, and he's just like Mr. Prism, and he just happens to have the passion to follow to follow what can make love the dominant currency in our life.
That's
Maybe
right.
not during our lifetime, but what can we do to give that to our children as part of as an education? I mean, yeah, and it doesn't matter if we are black or white or blue or red or whatever. Yeah. So Artemis, once again, toda rabba, shukran, ya habibi.
I have something to say. I think singing is a way to bring love into the world.
Yes.
And singing together.
Let's sing a song. Let's end our event tonight with singing a song together.
Can I just say something first, Artemis? Just
Of
to
course
speak?
you can. And we have actually, Joanne Jaffin still wants to say hello. So Joanne, if you're there, we'd love to hear from you. But yes, Suzanne, my dear, go.
Well, just speaking to what can add more love to the world, which, gosh, that would be the answer to everything. One of the things I'm working with is a project focused on what we were talking, somebody brought up before, talking about kindness. So if you could just imagine that people are kinder, that's a very fundamental kind of changeful attitude if everyone in the world were focused. So I'm actually working on a project to push that out there. And I would say a couple more things about it. First of all, it's popular now. When you start paying attention to the idea of kindness, you see how many different kinds of things are going on that are pushing that out, including programs for preschoolers, for kindergartners. Perfect. Get them going that way, but I don't want to wait till they get older because I'm not going to be here. So I want to get it now. And so I'm actually, but I think that's a very powerful kind of thing to be messing around with. It sounds so simple, but it's very basic and profound.
Yeah.
So I'm,
yeah.
In fact, tune in, sign up for my mailing list and you'll stay in touch with what I'm doing about that.
Suzanne, I'll definitely do that.
It's cool to be kind. Like in a way, you're saying that's echoes of the past.
Yeah.
It's easy also, it's a lot of it is habitual. You're in your stuff, you don't pay attention, but if you've got billboards everywhere and public service announcements and whatever, I mean, there's more to what I'm thinking about, but if you think about that, simple things, just to keep reminding people to be sweet. I think that could I think it really could change things.
Suzanne, where does your energy, all this positive energy come from?
When I discovered that the word enthusiasm was entheos in its derivation, which means the God within. As you can see, I'm a rather enthusiastic person, so I rather like discovering that.
Oh my goodness.
I think we should words just signs about love.
Can't hear you that well, Sydney. You're coming in.
Oh my God, Donald Trump's trying to enter our meeting room, guys.
I have said no to about 20 people in the last 10 minutes.
Same.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you got through.
If this channel is to continue, and we're going to broadcast YouTube rolling with Artemis and Patrick and Sid, or whoever we're rolling with, we might change the name, whatever we want. It's a democracy, after all. That's what Artemis is preaching all day long. So yeah, then we will have a way not to.
Right.
Now it's kind of like a curiosity, like who's coming in, like eating potato chips. Come on, like really, is that the meme of the other? That's so crude, but like that's a joke on us, man. It really is, and we can't take ourselves so seriously, even though we are informed by science and intellect and philosophies that go back. Seriously, we are living in one land. And so we have to bring the indigenous people in because they are going to teach us how to heal the earth. No, seriously, I mean, we need a few makamak earth healing firstborn Americans to join this effort. That know about the earth, the vibration, and I I'm a Yid, I'm a Jew. I know I can do a lot of stuff, but I can't. And I've attended a lot of earth healing ceremonies, and I did a lot of sweat lodges in my career. And I connect with the first people. I'm a first person. That's why I'm here tonight. And and Gwen, one more second. And once again, Artemis, I'm grateful to you for convening just at this moment in time, like after all this COVID stuff and just before the election, a little like oasis of sanity. And it started from like 30 something people and a lot of like very rigorous scientific stuff that's going on in today's parlance of all the sophisticated magazines. I mean, all the latest thought and just credibility. I mean, the guy, yeah. So anyway, but I'm going to just expose this place in me that I'm saying that love is much more important than intellect. And all these ideas and all these like wow impressive studies and PhDs and publishing prowess, that's good.
It is good.
But really, yeah, it's very good. And the thing is just to remember every day what we can add to it. Like what is our unique, individual, own, specific contribution that only if like we really work on about, because the best thing we can do is be our true self. That's the best way we can contribute to society. And yeah, and so a lot of us, yeah, okay, I'll stop at that because I can talk on and on and on. But Artemis, gratitude, Habibi, shukran.
Well, I want to add to that and talk one sentence about love coins, because that's what love coins is about.
Okay,
Love
thank you.
coins is about equalizing every relationship, not moment for moment, but intention for intention. Love coins is about sharing yourselves together intimately. And if I can help you do your taxes, you can help me fix my roof, whatever it might be. And we share that. We keep track of it, kind of the emotional bank account that Stephen Covey talked about. But really, it's a personal growth method because you ultimately have to treat yourself that way. That loving yourself means you take care of yourself. You put attention on yourself. You do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And really, what love coins is in the end is if you look at your credit card, or if you look at all the expenses you have, it's all really about love. You know, you drove to the office to do your work so you could provide an income for your family, whatever it might be. And that love is really what I would like to drive our economy. Yeah. Not greed, not avarice, not control and domination, not even order. What I want is the expression of love in every relationship. So people take care of each other in community. Whether you live in Seattle or New York or next door, you are in love with each other and you devote yourselves to that love. And you build up credits and debits. And one day I need credits, I trade them in for a little time with you, Brenda, to learn how to sing, you know, and other times I will expense credits with Patrick when he does a massage on my body. And I will help him with his car payments or whatever it is. So that's the point, is that we have equality in our love. And that's really what democracy ultimately is not just the right to vote. It's the privilege to participate. It's a privilege to love. And so that's what love coins are about. And we will actually have a denominational system where you can have credits and debits with each other. there won't be any money made. The point is not to make money on these exchanges. The point is to make the exchanges. It really is a cost-saving thing, because if all the things you need in your life are addressed through barter, and this is essentially barter, you don't have to even file a tax return, because everything you do will be off the US dollar. So that's really the vision of Love Coins. And you're all, I'm developing this. I'm working with a crypto designer right now. I think I'll have a draft in about 2 months of what Love Coins will look like. I have an image of what Love Coins is, and even a theme song. You know, that Stevie Wonder song is,
Yeah, man.
love is in love. Love is in love today of love, you know? Anyway, that's the story about Love Coins. And I'll talk to you guys more if you want to know. Let's talk about the future of this show and what we want to do together. With Sydney, I'd love your thoughts, and Patrick and all of you. I mean, it is like a family now. And I can't even imagine having a night without you guys at this point. And it's so touching to me to have this connection together. So I would just love to open it up to anyone who wants to throw out what they want to do, how would they like to continue. If they were to continue, should we have more of a speaker format where one or two people are kind of talking about big picture conversations and then we break off, or do we want to more connect? So I just throw it out there.
Well, I love the expansiveness of it. I love that as we come in, we're sharing who we are, where we come from, what we do, what we can share. I can't say enough about the bartering system. I am 100% in belief of that since I started learning how to count money, because quite frankly, it didn't make sense. So that's just my thought about it, I guess, is it is really wonderful because, like, my connection with Giselle now, that's amazing. We're in the same area, connecting with Patrick about the flow movement and the contact improv is amazing. And it's, one thing that I think is happening is that I know that I'm feeling enriched just by being a part of these groups. It's been very educational for me and beautifully healing and interactive. So I want to say thank you, Artemis, for hosting it. And I would love for it to continue.
Thank you, Gwen. I also love it to continue and to bring in people from our own networks that we think can share their perspective for how we get deeper in touch with our purpose and intention and love.
I mean, that's
very expansive.
Yeah.
I definitely should have said love, because that is the thing, right? That's the driving force. So, yeah.
I think a lot of my life has been devoted to the concept of integration. And so really my vision is that we do have these, high-level speakers, and then we have Gnome play music, and that we all dance a little bit, and people get very comfortable with that transition. And that's exactly what the human brain needs to be trained to do. We need to go from saving this world to love, to the intellect, to dancing, to music. And we can't be separating it all out into separate places. I want it all right here.
Yeah.
Right. Body, mind, spirit.
Here, man.
I think that's our mission statement, Patrick. I think you just said it.
All right. We'll put it in. We'll put it in there. There's going to be a dance every time. There's going to be some music. And not just for 2 minutes. We're going to dance for 10 minutes, and then we're going to go back to saving the world. We're going to go back to hearing some important facts and wisdom from people. We'll need Bradley to come on with all of his organization that he's doing. I wrote some of your organizations in the chat. Love them. Love what you're doing.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bradley, it was so nice to meet all of you. Sid, since you're the moderator, like, I mean, Patrick is also a curator. Do you, at any time when you would like to have like a finish with drums, I can offer that. But if you don't want that kind of finish this evening, then I can do guitar, or I can just not do anything and just, we can do like a really interesting thought. Like Patrick was talking about all these, like bring an amazing thought, like brilliant thought, okay? Let's have a brilliant thought. Anybody has a brilliant thought?
Please, let's incorporate healing arts into this. Anyone, bring your voices, bring your bring your musical instruments, bring your, record label or record. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Bring it all. Bring it all.
Astrology readings.
Oh. She's designing the channel. She's actually in. She's in for the channel. Artemis, hear that? Sid just said she's going to sponsor the future of this Rolling With whom? We don't know what it's going to be called at the end, but could be Rolling With Sid. I like that. Sounds actually really good too. But I know everybody knows who it's rolling with, right? Okay, so
let's have one or two more last thoughts, and then we'll get to the music and dancing to end us off.
Yes. Music and dancing.
Well, before we go to music and dancing, I think we're getting close to a Biden kind of moment here. He's at 253. He's got 17 to go.
I have some information.
Yes, let's just finish off with some politics so we get unified on that level.
All right, so this is the scene. Actually, if you go to different sites, he's actually at he's 6 points away, and Nevada will push him over to the 270 he needs, but they're not going to decide Nevada until noon tomorrow.
Hey, Patrick, thank you for the just up-to-date information. And now we go to our weather people. Tomorrow.
I love
the
it.
Emotions will be.
Bradley, you're muted.
I'm just going to say, there's a storm front coming through.
Rising.
Makes me very happy. That means that we're not. That means people are on the side of the planet and human.
We should have Bradley. What do you, Gwen? What are you saying?
I said, well, this is good news, and it's encouraging for me to feel that, he's very close to winning 270. He's at 270, and that gives me a lot of encouragement that there's at least that percentage of the Electoral College that cares about the planet and human and all beings, being.
So
continuing to thrive.
Well, this channel is about understanding that either we're all one America. No, I mean, or are we saying that like half of America is stupid, and we shouldn't be with it?
Could I add in a little bit of caution?
Because I got to know that I heard everything on this channel, a lot of smart stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if you guys are thinking of doing this tomorrow, because there's only, we have no idea what's happening in Nevada because they haven't been publishing the count. So Biden's 8,000 votes ahead in Nevada, and he's been 8,000 votes ahead for all day, pretty much. or at least half the day. I don't remember when it changed, but it hasn't changed at all in 8 hours or so.
Yeah.
And so they're holding back on publishing the results in Nevada. So we really have no idea. Now, so, you know, there's some worry. It's amazing, though, how Biden has inched up in Pennsylvania. You know, he's only 200,000 apart in Pennsylvania. He's only 40,000 apart in Georgia. And a friend of mine, no, not a friend, the famous this wonderful liberal comedian did some math on that, which was pretty convincing that he's gonna get ahead in Georgia by about 20,000 votes. So there's a lot of positiveness, but I could imagine there's certainly also the possibility we will wake up tomorrow or noon tomorrow and completely freak the fuck out.
Yes, and I think that's
no,
good.
no.
I want to give one more piece of good news about Georgia. I've been looking on various sites. Trump has already filed a lawsuit in Georgia, and they're saying that Biden has already won in Georgia, and that Trump's lawsuit is trying to keep these votes away. So Georgia also looks quite good for Biden, actually.
It does. I'm positive and optimistic, but I just want to say that if Artemis and Patrick and Sid, if you aren't hosting something tomorrow night as well, there may be a need to do so.
Well, I think there's a consensus that we will host forever. This is like Nightline. Remember when, after the invasion of the embassy in Baghdad, in Iran. My belief about why we need each other is that we are separate. We are far away from each other, but this can bring us together once a day. And maybe it's a shorter period of time. We've gone with this expanded 7 to 9 period, and now it's almost
expanded programming.
Standard programming.
You've done expanded programming.
And now we have bombers coming on and like making a ruckus. You know, but you know, I mean, I'm very excited that Bradley and Joseph and Patrick, who are 3 of my dearest, oldest men friends, and Norm, that you know each other now. Like, this is our gathering of our tribe. And now you're part of that, Andy. And, you know, I just feel like we're building a community. So we'll be on the air tomorrow at 7, and we'll have more to talk about. And I think we should end with a song. We should end with Give Yourself to Love, if love is what you're after. What about that song? Or how about Love, Love, Love? I'm muting myself. Love.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. 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 Love is all you need. 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 Love is all. Bradley, come back. Come back. And all of you people, come back. And Phyllis and Suzanne. Love, 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 love.
Goodbye, all my
Good night,
new
everyone.
friends. Goodbye, Artemis.
I'll call you tomorrow morning, man.
Take care.
Thank you, Artemis.
Love you all. Thank you, Cindy.
All you need is love. Love, all you need is love. All you need is love. Love, love, all you need. Love is all you need. And some hope.
Sorry I'm not on the film, you guys. My phone is about to die.
Have a good rest, everyone. Mwah.
And
Ah.
sending lots of love.
Democracy. Epic democracy.
All right.
Epic democracy.
I mean,
Epic democracy.
very dramatic.
Yes,
Also,
1 o'clock.
very dramatic. Also dramatic. Very dramatic and epic. Pa.
Artemis.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow, Artemis.
Thank you.
1 o'clock.
Domani. Domani.
Thank you.
Send a note about what we're gonna do tomorrow.
Okay. Well, you're part of the committee.
No, but we're
Okay.
We'll make it happen.
Okay, my darling friends.
Okay.
Love, love, love.
Love you all. Mwah.
Mwah.
Love, love. Love, love.